Welcome to ModelSheet. ModelSheet is an innovative authoring environment for business models. This demonstration shows you how to build a model from scratch using ModelSheet. Our goal is to show all the steps needed to build a model from scratch. We will use a simple and familiar model, an income statement that starts with revenue and ends with net income. As you watch the presentation, we suggest you compare ModelSheet with conventional spreadsheets regarding the number of manual operations, the thought processes required for business concepts and cells, the amount of time required, and the potential for error. Let's start a new model to demonstrate how to build a model from scratch. Click on the button for New Model and enter the name. The model we are building has 6 variables. We can create all 6 variables in a minute or so. First, let's create the variable revenue. We click on the button for New Variable and enter the name, Revenue. The accounting type of this variable is also revenue. The accounting type tells ModelSheet how to automate many operations. For example, ModelSheet rolls up revenue over 4 quarters by adding. It rolls up assets over 4 quarters by taking the last value. It rolls up growth rates over 4 quarters by compounding. Make revenue depend on the predefined time series model time. Click OK and New. OK and New brings up a dialog to define the next variable with the same settings as the previous variable, so you only have to enter the items that change. Enter the variable expense. Its accounting type is also expense. Enter income tax. Enter operating margin. Its accounting type is margin or profit. Enter net income. And lastly, enter return on sales percent. Its accounting type is margin percent. You don't have to define all the variables at the same time, but it saves work to create them together. Let's enter the formulas that express the relationships among these variables. First, specify the values of the revenue variable. We find revenue in the list of variables on the left. Set the revenue to be $1,000 in the first time period. Set it to grow by 5% per period in all later periods. To make the 5% growth apply to all time periods, enter it in the box to the left of all the time periods. The built-in function prev in the formula means to use the value of this variable from the previous time period. The cells containing the number and the formula turn pink to tell you they contain independent information. The contents of the pink cells determine the values in the white cells. Go to the variable expense. Specify expense to be $600 in the first period and to grow by 4% in all later periods. Define operating margin as revenue minus expense. Specify income tax to be 25% of operating margin if it is greater than or equal to 0. Note that I use an underscore in place of space in variable names when they appear in formulas. Define net income as operating margin minus income tax. Lastly, define return on sales percent to be net income divided by revenue. We have now entered all the variables and formulas that define the model. We can view each variable and its formulas in the variable editor. Now let's create a worksheet that combines these variables into an income statement. At the top of the left column, click on the button for New Workbook. Enter the name for the workbook to be Master. Click on the button New Sheet to add a new worksheet. Give it the name Income Statement. Set the worksheet type to be Categories and Variables. The worksheet has two tabs. The Edit tab, shown here, contains a schematic or cartoon where you can specify the layout of the worksheet. Each light blue box is a table of variables. Each purple box is a container that holds blue tables. Let's enter revenue in the first blue table. We find here the revenue variable on the left and move it to the right column. We want a blank row after the revenue. So start a new table by clicking on the container, clicking on the plus sign, and creating a new table. Set the type again to be variables and categories. Check that this container is set to add one blank row between each pair of tables. Enter the next group of variables into the second blue table. They are expense and operating margin. Make a third blue table and enter the remaining variables in the income statement. They are income tax, net income, and return on sales percent. The Preview tab allows us to view the web workbook. Let's add a title on top that says Income Statement. We go to the Edit tab, click on the outside container, click on Show Titles, and add a top title that says Income Statement. Allow the title to span 3 columns if necessary. Let's apply a style to this title, Header 2 style, which gives it a bold font with a larger font size. We now have a bold heading that says Income Statement on this worksheet. Let's add quarterly sums to the income statement. Select the Overview tab, click on the list of display styles, and move the style called Quarter Sums to the right. The entire workbook now has quarter sums. Let's generate an Excel file from our model. Go to tab Overview and click on the button Make Excel. We can open or save the resulting Excel file. The Excel workbook has one worksheet named Income Statement. The variables are laid out as an income statement with bold title and a blank row between each section of the income statement. We have built a model in ModelSheet and used it to generate a fully functional Excel file. We can give the Excel file to a report user who knows nothing about ModelSheet. This finishes our demonstration of how to build a simple model from scratch. Let's summarize what we did in the demonstration. First, we defined 6 variables and the formulas that relate them to form the model. We built a web workbook that displays an income statement with a title and quarterly sums. Lastly, we generated a conventional Excel file to give to report users. If you would like more information or you would like a free trial of ModelSheet, please sign up on our website. We invite you to try ModelSheet for free and see if you agree that ModelSheet is the next step in the evolution of spreadsheets. Thank you.